All right, so here's your study guide for quiz 26. Problem number 1, you're asked to find the length. All right, so we're finding the length of this missing side. We're still using this acronym, SOHCAHTOA. But in this case, we don't need to use sine, cosine, or tangent because we've just got a right triangle where we're given the two legs. So if we call this side C, we can do 6 squared plus 8 squared equals C squared. And we're going to get 100 equals C squared. And then we're going to find the square root of each side. And 10 is equal to C. All right, problem number 2. The figure is drawn on centimeter grid paper. Find the perimeter of the shaded figure to the nearest tenth. So we need the perimeter of this shape that's in here. All right, but we can use these squares on the grid paper. So this vertical side over here on the left is 1 unit. And then this horizontal side is 1, 2, 3, 4 units. Okay? Now, we need these two diagonal sides. And the two diagonal sides are the hypotenuse for these two right triangles. Okay? So this top right triangle up here has a left side of 1, 2, 3 and a top side of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This side's 7. So we can do 3 squared plus 7 squared equals, we're going to call this side C again, C squared. So 3 squared plus 7 squared equals 58. And then we're going to find the square root of each side. 7.6 is equal to C. All right, that's this side right here, this blue side. 7.6. Now we're going to find the length of this green side, this hypotenuse. That is the hypotenuse for this right triangle over here on the right that has a bottom leg of 1, 2, 3 and a vertical leg of 1, 2, 3, 4. So this green, I'm gonna just call it C again. So if we do 3 squared plus 4 squared equals C squared, we're going to get 25 equals C squared. Find the square root of each side, and 5 equals C. So now we're going to add together this green 5, this blue 7.6, this 4, and this 1, and that'll give us the perimeter. Okay, so perimeter equal to 1 plus 4 plus 7.6 plus the 5. And that's 5 and 5 is 10, that's 17.6. So two right triangle problems using the Pythagorean theorem. That'll give you those diagonals. And then you can use the grid paper to find the vertical leg, and you can use the grid paper, the squares on the grid paper to find this horizontal leg. All right, Viola drives 4 kilometers up a hill that makes an angle of 10 degrees with the horizon. So here's the horizontal. Here's her hill that she's going to drive up. It makes a 4-degree angle. To the nearest tenth of a kilometer, what horizontal distance has she covered? I'm sorry, Viola drives 4 kilometers up a hill. This is 4. And this piece in here makes a 10-degree angle of 10 degrees with the horizontal. So this is 10 degrees. We're going to drop in a vertical here and form a right triangle. To the nearest tenth of a kilometer, what horizontal distance has she covered? So we're looking for this distance here, this h. So in relation to this 10-degree angle, we have the hypotenuse, and we're looking for this horizontal distance. So this is adjacent and hypotenuse. Cosine equals adjacent over hypotenuse. So cosine 10 equals the adjacent side over the hypotenuse. We're going to crisscross multiply. 1 times the h is h. And cosine 10 times 4. .94 to the nearest tenth, so 3.9 kilometers. So you're going to draw the triangle. Just double check your drawing. All right. 4 kilometers up the hill is the hypotenuse. Angle 10 degrees with the horizon. That's this angle in here. All right. And horizontal distance covered. That's this leg of the right triangle, the bottom leg. All right, so now we're finding angle measures. So we're going to use inverse sine, cosine, tangent. So we've got an angle, we got its adjacent side, and we have the hypotenuse. Adjacent and hypotenuse, cosine. But we're finding an angle, so we're going inverse cosine. And adjacent is 5, hypotenuse is 15. This goes into the calculator. So 5 over 15, second cosine. And to the nearest degree, I get 70.53 to the nearest degree. All right, that's 71 degrees. Same concept on problem number 5. We're looking for an angle measure, and we are given its opposite side and the hypotenuse. Sine equals opposite over hypotenuse. Since we're finding an angle measure, we're using inverse sine. And this opposite side is 6. The hypotenuse is 14. Finish it in the calculator and round it. 25.38, so 25.38. 3 to the nearest degree. That's 25 degrees. All right, again, we're finding an angle, and we've got opposite and adjacent. Tangent equals opposite over adjacent. We're finding an angle, so we're using inverse tan of the opposite side, which is 13, over the adjacent side, which is 11, to the nearest degree. .48 degrees. Yep, 48 degrees. Okay, problem number 7. What is the description of angle 1? All right, angle 1 is an angle of depression. Angle 1 is formed by this airplane's horizontal line of sight, or take that back, angle 1 is formed by a horizontal, which is this blue line, and a line of sight looking down. Angle of depression, a horizontal and an angle looking down. Okay? Angle 3 in here is also an angle of depression. It's formed by a horizontal and an angle looking down. Angle 5 is formed by a horizontal and an angle looking down. Okay, so angle 1, angle 5, and angle 3. Those are angles of depression. All right? Formed by a horizontal and line of sight looking down. Now, the other angles in this picture, you've got angle 4 right here, and you've got angle 2. All right? Those are angle of elevation. Angles of elevation are formed by a horizontal and a line of sight looking up. Okay? So both types of angles are formed by a horizontal. In angle of depression, the second side is going down. In angle of elevation, it's the horizontal and the second side is going up. So this is formed by a horizontal and line of sight looking up. So on your quiz tomorrow, you're going to be asked to describe one of those 5 angles. If it's formed by a horizontal and a line going down, it's depression. If it's formed by a horizontal and a line going up, it's elevation. All right, problems, let's see, 8 and 9 here. These are going to be sine, cosine, tangent problems again. Now, when you get these pictures, the first thing you want to do is this dashed line across the top is a horizontal line. The line across the bottom of this triangle is a horizontal line. They're parallel to each other. Whatever degree this angle is right here, it's the same as this one. So this is 40 degrees. Okay? Move the 40, this angle of depression, into the triangle. These two angles are the same. They're alternate interior angles. And now in relation to this angle, we have opposite, and we're looking for the hypotenuse. So sine 40 equals the opposite side over the hypotenuse. Crisscross multiply. Sine 40x equals 500. And divide by sine 40. These cancel. X is equal to 500 divided by sine 40. And to the nearest tenth, that's going to be second fix 1, 777.9. And on problem number 9, this angle of depression is congruent to this angle inside the triangle, so this is 35 degrees. In relation to this angle, we're looking for opposite. We have adjacent. Tangent equals opposite over adjacent. So tan 35 equals the opposite side over the adjacent side. We're going to crisscross multiply, so x equals tan 35 times 6 which is 4.2. All right, we got 2 problems left here. To approach problem number 10, to approach the runway, a pilot of a small plane must begin a 9% descent starting from a height of 1714 above the ground. So they're saying that the plane is right here. How many miles to the nearest tenth of a mile? How many miles from the runway is the plane at the start of this approach? So this is the runway right here. All right. We're going to use this 9-degree angle, and we're going to put it inside the triangle because these two are alternate interior angles and they're congruent. We've got opposite. We're looking for hypotenuse. Sine equals opposite over hypotenuse. So sine 9 equals opposite, which is 1714, over hypotenuse, which is x. Crisscross multiply. So sine 9 times x equals 1714. Divide by sine 9. These cancel, and our x is equal to 10,956 to the nearest tenth. Okay, so be careful here, all right? To the nearest tenth of a mile. How many miles is the runway from the start of the approach? This x is in feet right now. So we got 10,956.7. That's in feet. There are 5,280 feet in a mile. So we take this x value and we divide it by 5,280. This number is still sitting on our calculator, this 10,000 number. So just divided by 5,280 equals, and that's 2.1. So he's 2.1 miles from the runway at this point in his descent. All right, and problem number 11. Boat is crossing the river as shown. To the nearest tenth of a degree, find the angle at which the boat must head upriver in order to travel directly across the river. They're basically just asking you to find x. Okay? So again, this is a sine cosine tangent problem. We're looking for an angle measure, so we're using inverse of opposite over hypotenuse. So we're using inverse sine equals the opposite side over the hypotenuse. So 7 over 11 second sine equals 39.5 degrees. Find the angle at which the boat must head upriver in order to travel directly across the river. Okay, so it's 39.5 degrees. He's trying to get from here, the origin of this compass. All right, these are in directions, north, south, west, and east. And he's heading this 39.5 degrees. That's called north of west. All right, if he was heading directly west, he would be heading horizontally right here. This would be directly west. There's your west. But he's got to drive in this direction on this diagonal. So he's going north of west 39.5 degrees. All right, any questions from that study guide? All right, you got the rest of the period to be academically productive. Your quiz is tomorrow.